Hi everyone, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for our webinar. We'll be discussing how you can make your short-term rental properties more sustainable. I see a few of you joining. We'll just be taking a couple of moments, just let everyone get into the room. Fantastic. Hi Danielle, thank you for joining. We'll just take a few more moments and then we'll kick off. Perfect, a few more people are signing on. Great, I think we'll get started. So I'll be handing over to your host for this session, Bob, CEO and founder of EnviroRentals, and Alondra, head of partnerships at Minut.
Thank you so much, Neela. I'm so excited to be here today. As you mentioned, we have Bob here with us today. Bob is not only a host himself in the beautiful, beautiful region is it Puglia?
In Le Marche.
Le Marche. Okay. I'm in Madrid. I'm joining you from Madrid. So a little different, but yeah, it's so nice to have you on here today. Everyone who works in the short-term rental sector and those who have been working in the sector for a while know you as one of the most influential advisors on this topic, and certainly the expert and the go-to person. So we're just so excited to be able to talk to you today about sustainability.
Well, great. It's great to be here. Thank you, Alondra.
Thank you. So we wanted to talk about Earth Day. As Bob was mentioning, for him, every day is Earth Day, as it should be for all of us. This past Friday, though, marked the 53rd anniversary of the official Earth Day. For those of you that don't know, it's an annual celebration that honors the achievements of the environmental movement and raises much needed awareness of the need to protect Earth's natural resources for future generations. It's inspired millions of people worldwide to act for a cause, and it's just incredible. It's something that really originated in the US and has really just taken off and is celebrated in various ways throughout the world. So before I move on to the next slide, I did want to also tie back to the short-term rental sector. Those of us who work in the sector have seen that certainly in the last year or two, essentially, since COVID, sustainability has become kind of a term that's become, that's now in everyone's mind for guests and property managers and hosts alike. And certainly, we thought, why not go ahead and dedicate a webinar to this topic? Here at Minut, in the past year in particular, we certainly took a hard look at sustainability. We're actually a Swedish company at heart, so it's very much in our DNA. We started with, going back to the drawing board, looking at our packaging and saying, how can we slim down our packaging, make it easier to send, use less wasteful materials. So anyone who has the previous sensor, what we call the Generation 2 sensor, and who's gotten the Generation 3 sensor can tell you that the packaging is completely different. We wanted to make sure that not only, is the packaging easier to ship out, but also that the materials themselves are recyclable. Then we also moved our factory. Some of you may have seen that we posted something on our social media regarding the change of factory. We previously had a factory in China. Now we've brought it much closer to our team and also to the majority of our customers. So it's actually now located in Sweden, which makes it not only much easier to ship out and helps us to reduce our environmental footprint, but it's great for us to ensure that the product that we're creating is of top quality. And then we do offer what we call a robust product for long service life. So as an idea or as an example, those of you who have a sensor can vouch for the fact that, you plug it in once per year, and the battery life is good pretty much through the entire year. And with the new sensor, it actually lasts a little bit longer than that. And we offer long-term support of the platforms, meaning it's not going to be a sensor that you're going to buy and then you're going to be completely on your own. We offer, support not only with the device itself, but then also for the integrations and the technological support as well that's needed. And then lastly, I wanted to mention that we do offer a feature that's really helpful for saving energy and money through temperature control. So let's go ahead and quickly jump into the features before I hand it on over to Bob. For those of you who are not familiar with Minut, certainly we're well known for noise monitoring. So we help to prevent noise issues by tracking how loud and for how long the noise is loud for. Then we offer occupancy monitoring, so helping give you an idea of how many people approximately are in the property and alerting you if it's above the threshold that you set for that particular property, because that's often the first sign that a crowd is gathering. And then motion detection. So some people don't know that we actually started off as a security company without cameras through motion detection. So if you have like a seasonal property, it's quite nice to be able to get an alert when the sensor notices motion. So it's kind of a silent alarm, which is quite helpful. Tamper detection. So if you've got some folks that are in your property and they're trying to move around, that sensor, or trying to get away with having a party, you will know it. And then outdoor mode. This is a feature that we're most proud of because we just launched it this past year. It took a lot of testing. Again, our focus is ensuring that we can provide a quality product that will withstand all kinds of temperatures, all kinds of climates, all kinds of situations. And we're really proud that we managed to launch the outdoor mode earlier this year. Alarm recognition. So in some regions, it is mandatory to have like a smoke alarm and also carbon monoxide detection. If either of those do go off in the property, Minut will recognize that sound and actually send you a notification that those alarms are going off. And then as mentioned before, temperature. So you're able to track the temperature and set temperature thresholds for your particular property. And you would get notifications if say, for example, guests have left the air conditioning on or the heating on. That way you can ensure that you keep the temperature in your property at the levels that are best for you. And then coming soon is cigarette smoke detection. We've gotten a lot of requests for this particular feature, so we are definitely working on it and we'll let you know when it's available. So Bob, before I pass it on over to you, I thought I'd take advantage and get to know a little bit more about your story with sustainability. Can you tell us, when did you first get started on your sustainability journey?
Yeah, sure. Great to be here. Thank you very much. So yeah, I started 18 years ago when we moved from London to Italy to have a change of life and a change of pace. We bought an old farmhouse and converted it into 6 luxurious, sustainable holiday apartments. And we didn't know anything 18 years ago, other than we knew that we wanted to do something. And my journey has been a journey of discovery over those 18 years, looking at what works, looking what makes a difference, looking what makes money, looking what the guests appreciate and enjoy, and looking at those things that actually have a great impact on the planet. So through trial and error, through learning, through research and application, we've come to the point 18 years later at Casal di Fichi in Italy that we've got a really good understanding about what actually works and what doesn't, and what the customer appreciates, and also what's good for business, because I'm constantly talking to people about sustainability and short-term rentals, and it's so important. But people think that they have to do it and not be profitable, not be successful, as though it's some binary decision between A and B, and it absolutely isn't. The two are interwoven together. And so for me, my journey has been learning about how to build sustainability and profitability and good customer service all in one package and delivering it. And it's worked for us, and I really try and encourage people to try it, and I hope it works for them too.
It's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, and it's just it was so exciting to see you launch EnviroRental. When did you, I'm trying to remember, what was it, earlier this year or last year that you
It
launched?
was the end of
Last year,
January.
right?
Yeah, it'd be end of January, last day of January, in fact. Yeah, this
Oh,
year.
okay.
Yeah. So still quite young.
Great.
So I'll talk about environment.
Can you tell us a little bit about
Absolutely.
it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll talk about it. So yeah, so thank you again. So I launched EnviroRental because I've spent a lot of time talking in the industry to property managers and hosts about sustainability. And I always got the same answer every single time is, yeah, I believe we need to do something, but I don't understand it. I don't know what to do, and I don't know where to start. And so what I've really done with EnviroRental is take all my learning, all my experience, all my knowledge, everything that I've picked up over the last 18 years, and some of my colleagues as well. And we've built it into a hub where everything is there around sustainability. So if you are interested in short-term rentals and sustainability, everything is in EnviroRental. You do not need to go anywhere else. We've done the research, we've done the work, we've scoured the internet, we've looked at the tools and the techniques and the guides and the roadmaps and the information. And I'll perhaps, you know, if there's time at the end of the webinar, I'll share the website and show people a couple of the features. But the important thing is we've tried to make it a one-stop shop of free resources. There are no costs whatsoever for anybody, and that's thank you to partners like Minut, who are helping us deliver these services and these products and this information out to the industry. So you can go there, you register, and then everything is free. And we try to take you on a journey from zero to hero. So moving you on your green journey, or progressing you if you've already started on that green journey, and giving you the tools, the techniques, and the information that you need, so that you can be sustainable and be profitable, as I was saying before. So perhaps I'll talk through a couple of slides, and then I can show you the website and answer questions, if that works. Great.
Sounds
So
great.
people always say, well, okay, what can I do? So I always try and give a few tips, a bit of information to get people started. The most important thing is start with the easy things. Start with the low-hanging fruit that will cost you no money, that will have a big impact, and that will motivate you to move on to the next thing. I always think sustainability is like a virtuous circle. Once you get into it and you see the positive impacts on your business, on your customers, and on the planet, you go back and do the next thing. It's a reiterative process, as it was with me. You try something, you see that it works, and so you do the next thing. So I want to touch on just a few things here that I think people, if they're just starting out as a property manager or a host, should look at. The first one is switching to a green energy tariff. The simplest thing you can do and one of the biggest impacts that you can have. So the electricity contract that you have for your business or your home, then look at that. And if it isn't on a renewable energy tariff, if you look on the web or look on the bill, it will tell you, then speak to your energy supplier and ask to switch to a green energy tariff. Most companies do that in different parts of the world. If they don't, switch to a different supplier. It isn't complicated. There's no interruption in the electricity. It doesn't cost you any more money. But what it means is that your money is going to invest in renewable energy. And if we all did that, we can much more quickly shift over from carbon to renewables. So it's a really great thing to do, and it's super quick and easy and won't cost you any money. Next, eliminate.
That's a great one.
Next one is eliminate single-use plastic in your operation, or at least try and reduce it as much as you can. Everybody understands that plastic is a wonderful product, but we also understand that it lives for hundreds of years. Most of it, 90% of it, still doesn't get recycled. Most of it goes into landfill or pollutes the seas or pollutes the rivers and lasts a long time. So a product that you might use for a day or a week or even a month, and then you throw the bottle away, that bottle is going to live for hundreds of years, polluting the planet. So move to single-use plastic by only using plastic move away from single-use plastic, but only using plastic that can be used again and again and again. So to give you an example, if you've got in the shower, you've got shampoo and you've got shower gel, don't give those little bottles to people. Have dispensers on the walls that you can refill, and those dispensers will last for years. And there are lots of companies out there who will do that. They will send you their products that are hydrated, and you just add the water, or they come in a concentrate, or there are lots of different options. But try and think of the ways that look at the plastic use in your home or in your business and think about how you can find an alternative. We've got lots of suggestions on the EnviroRental website. Next one, LED lights. LED lights are the newest type of light. And most people have already got them already, but if you've still got some old lights, then consider switching out to the LED. The LED will last much, much longer, so you don't have to keep changing out the light bulbs when they go, and they don't give out heat, so they use a fraction of the energy. So it's said that a typical vacation rental in the US can save over $250 a year by having LED light. So
Wow.
that's a huge amount, because then the old style lights, if you remember, if you've seen them, they're hot to the touch. They're giving a lot of heat out. So that's using more energy. So LEDs are the way to go. And in some parts of the world, it's all you can buy now, which is great. But I would encourage people to do LED.
And they're much easier to maintain, right? Because they last a lot longer.
Yeah, they last for years and years. Yeah, and they use a fraction of the energy. So absolutely, yeah, it's one less thing to worry about when you're doing your changeovers, because you don't have to keep checking whether the light bulbs have gone. So absolutely, yeah. Then also consider, and these aren't in order of importance, by the way, they're just things that I think that you could easily do. Also think about your suppliers. What we do as a small business here with just 6 apartments, we try and amplify the effect of our sustainability by drawing in our suppliers. So the people who provide us products or services, we also look to them to be sustainable as well. So to give you an example, we use Who Gives a Crap toilet paper that some of you might have heard of. It's recycled paper, it's delivered to your door, but importantly, the company itself gives 50% of its profit to build water facilities in the developing world for people who don't have.
Oh, wow.
So if you've got a product that you need to buy, like toilet paper, you've got company A and company B. Company B are doing some wonderful stuff. Why not support them? You're amplifying your message there by using companies like that. So think of your suppliers and talk to them about what their role is in sustainability and what they're going to do. And if they're not doing anything, why not? And just quiz them a little bit and consider that there are always alternative companies that you can work with. Then I'd also like to talk about green hosting your website. This is something that comes as a bit of surprise to many people. So people often talk about how bad flying is. Oh, we've got to cut down on flying. It's really bad for the planet. And of course it is. But the internet has the same carbon footprint as flying, around 4% of global greenhouse. So yes, of course, cut down on flying if you can, but also consider how you use the internet. So the servers that for your websites are hosted by a company. That company obviously uses energy to run those servers. And these are huge, massive servers. And a lot of these companies are not yet using renewable energy. So you go to a website called the Green Web Foundation. You'll find the link at the bottom of EnviroRental's website. Go there, punch in any website you like, and it will instantly tell you whether the servers that you're using are being run on green energy. So that's so you get a nice smiley face if everything is good, or you get a sad face if it isn't. You can then badge that and put it on your website to prove to your customers, to prove to your suppliers, to prove to your community that you're trying to do the right thing. With each of these, I'm not saying it saves the whole world, but together they add up to something incredible. So you're just trying to tick off some of the simple, easy things that you can do quickly. And in this case, your energy, your your servers are not run on green energy, then talk to your host about what they're going to do about it. And they'll usually have a plan. And obviously, the more they hear from customers who want that to go faster, then they'll do so. So the Green Web Foundation is a great tool. And again, it's free, it costs nothing, and you can get a badge for your website. And then the Glasgow Declaration. Again, this is something quite new. Some people might have heard of Tourism Declares a Climate Emergency. I was a volunteer outreach worker for them for a couple of years. When COP came to Glasgow a year and a half ago, the tourism industry got together to sign what they call the Glasgow Declaration. And what it means is that you go to a website, it's now backed and run by the UN, the United Nations, and you plug in there and sign up to say that you're committed to being sustainable, to reducing your emissions in line with the statistics and the data that comes from the scientists. So you sign up, you get a badge, you put that on your website, then you have a year to create a climate action plan. And that's really a simple statement. It can be bullet points about what you're doing or what you're intending to do. And that's a way of keeping you focused on doing things. It's so easy for us all to say, yeah, I'm going to do it, but then actually doing it, that next step. So this is a way of holding yourself accountable. And again, if you go to the EnviroRental website, we've written a blog all about climate action plans and what to do. But I'd say to everyone, don't be scared by it all. At the end of the day, it's a list of what you're doing and what you intend to do in the language that you feel comfortable with. It doesn't have to be a big piece of bureaucracy. But the more people sign the Glasgow Declaration, the more industry can see that we're coming together to create change. So the links are all on the EnviroRental website. And then another one would be an accreditation. Once you've started on your journey and you've ticked off a few things, then consider getting a badge to accredit yourself, to prove to the world that you're doing this. You might well have seen that on some of the OTAs like booking.com, they've introduced these badges now, these eco badges. And so that the customer can search by that criteria and see which companies are doing eco stuff or not. Now, in the short-term rental industry, there are so many different badges, but one has just been launched by Vanessa de Souslage called Sustonica that some of you might have heard of. So I'd encourage you to go and look at Sustonica. She's doing some great work with that. And that you do a test with her, and then you get a result and you get a mark. And then if you pass, you can then put that badge on your website. So it's telling your customers or your future customers or your potential customers that you are doing something around sustainability, and that's been proven through accreditation. So it's another way of proving what you're doing and letting people know. At the end of the day, I speak to a lot of people who are worried about greenwashing, and greenwashing is where people pretend that they're doing more than they're doing and that the impact is greater. But there's also this phrase green hushing, where people are not speaking about what they're doing for fear of being accused of greenwashing, or because they don't consider that it's enough. We're all on the journey. It doesn't matter if you're right at the beginning and you've taken one single step. That's the first step. Write about it and talk about it and be proud about it. The next one I wanted to just mention briefly was offsetting. So carbon offsetting is where you invest to plant trees or invest in some other practical project to lessen carbon in the world. It gets sometimes a bad press, and that's because some people use carbon offsets and then carry on with everything else they were doing before. Carbon offsets are meant to be one tool in the toolbox. They are not a panacea to fix everything. They are really meant for those emissions that you can't at the moment tackle and deal with, and therefore you offset them. But ultimately, we need to get our emissions down. The goal that most people are not aware of is that everybody, you, me, every business, every country, the world, need to reduce our emissions by 50%, 50, by 2030. That's only 7 years away. At the moment, most people's emissions are still rising. That is a huge challenge. And each year you wait, you've got a bigger proportion you've got to do to meet that 50. So that's huge.
Bob, on EnviroRental, do you have recommendations for carbon offsetting companies that you recommend?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we're using Ecology.
Perfect.
And if you go through the website, you'll get a special deal if you go through the link. But there are other great companies out there. I would simply say to people, make sure they're registered with what's called the gold standard, which means that they have themselves have been accredited, because there are some cowboys out there and you don't want to be giving your money that actually is not actually planting the trees or supporting the project or being properly managed. So choose carefully. I recommend Ecology, but there are some great ones out there as well. And then I think just a couple more things I wanted to say was, when you've done some of these things and many others, and you'll find a list of everything on our website, on our roadmap, which will explain this in a lot of detail if you want to. It's so important to brand yourself. If you don't tell people what you're doing, how are they supposed to know? You've got to get out to these customers who are looking for sustainable stays. If you consider the survey data that Booking.com for the last 8 years and Expedia for the last 3 years have been doing, you'll find the data again on our website, of course. You know, somewhere around 80% of people would like to stay sustainably. They'd like to stay in a short-term rental that's doing something around sustainability. You may be doing the most wonderful things in the world, but if nobody knows, how are they going to find you? How are they going to come to you? So it's so important, you know, to blog about it, to have a page on your website. If you use a digital guide, write it in your digital guide. We use TouchStay because they've got some default sections already laid out for that, but so have others too. So do consider, you know, putting it in the communication when you write to your guest. Find ways of talking about it. You know, go for an award, possibly. You might get some press. All of these things generate publicity and some conversation around what you're doing, and that's really crucial. So branding is super important. Please don't keep it to yourself when you've done all these wonderful things. And then finally, I wanted to say, obviously, go to our website. All the resources are free. It's everything explained really clearly and simply, and hopefully will make sense to you. So I'm conscious of time. Shall we move over to the next slide? And I just wanted to say, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about this because I would like to save time for questions if people have them. But there are huge benefits to being environmentally friendly in short-term rentals. And again, all this information is on the homepage of our website. So you're doing the right thing for the planet, and that's fantastic. But you're in business. You need to be successful. Sustainability also is about you being financially sustainable so you can carry on into the future. You don't want to be the most eco business in the world. If you go out of business, what was the point of that? So this is all about being sustainable in all holistic way for your whole business. So you will see growth because you will tap into a market that you're currently not tapping into. You will be more prominent because you'll be talking about sustainability. It will be unusual. A lot of your competitors will not be doing that. And you might get some interesting publicity off the back of it, as we have done. There's a consumer demand that I was just referring to there, and that is only going to grow and grow. And as many of you will know, the younger generations are much more switched on to this. So they're looking, they care, they're interested. So do this and you will get into that business of finding these great people who want to stay sustainably. You will reduce your costs as well, because some of these things will mean that your costs will come down. But also, as your business goes up, as we have noticed, because you get repeat business, you get referral business, you don't have to spend so much money on marketing or using OTAs and paying them a commission. So you should find that that helps your bottom line as well. I've talked about publicity. The press are always interested in a good eco story. So once you've got something to say, it's great to get it out there and talk to the press. And we will be giving some guidance in the near future on EnviroRental about how to do that, because some people, you know, consider it a bit of a dark art and are not sure what to do. I've talked about more bookings, and it ties in also with reviews, which is down there as well. because what we found is that it's a little bit like the guest likes it when their moral compass aligns with your moral compass. They know that when they're staying with you, they're staying with a common person with a common objective, has the same view, the same standard, the same morals, the same look on the world. And they like it. They go, yeah, I really enjoy this, and I'm going to come back. And we've had guests who stayed with us a dozen times. They come back year after year after year, because what we do and what we say and what we try to put into practice is what they want to do and what they're doing at home as well. So that's really good when you can align your values with your guests' values, and that gives them a lovely warm feeling, and they come back for more and they refer you. But they also write amazing reviews then. So a much better review, a higher number review, you know, usually a 5-star, but a lot more nuance in the review, a lot more quality in the review, a lot more passion in the review, which is obviously what you want, because that's great for your business. So, and that gets out and people find out about it. So all these together make for a really successful business. It's not just about saving the planet, good though it is. Put this into practice, you will be successful in your business, and naturally the end result is we'll be doing the right thing for the planet. I can talk about this all day, but I am conscious of time. So I wanted to sort of stop for a moment and answer any questions, if there are any.
We did have a comment from Danielle, who was just wanted to touch on switching to bed and bath linens that are not made of fossil fuel based materials. So she makes a great point that, you know, with every wash, billions of microplastics end up in the ocean and atmosphere. And she mentions a company called Around the World in 80 Fabrics. I don't know if you've heard of that company, Bob, or if you, I'm sure you've also switched your linens based on this.
Yes, I haven't actually heard of that company. It sounds amazing. I will certainly be checking it out after this webinar. But there are some great companies out there doing some amazing stuff. So, you know, fabrics that have not been dyed or not been dyed using strong dyes, or there's also a great product, and the name is escaping me for a moment, but we've just written a blog about it, which is going to go live any day, where you can put a piece of kit onto your washing machine and it captures all of these microfibers and beads and everything like that, so it doesn't get flushed down the drain and go into the rivers. The name is escaping me for a second, but I will certainly find out what it is, and it'll be on our next blog, which is going out in the next 2 days, I think. So yeah, that's a great product.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that would be really interesting to see, right? You know, as it accumulates. Yep. You know, one of the things that came to mind too, as you were talking about, you know, reasons to go green, was I think the guests too. If you have a very purposeful guests who are seeking out specific kind of accommodation, you're going to have, you know, kind of by default, like a type of guest screening in a way, which is quite nice, because the guests that are going to be staying with you, it's also going to be a nicer experience for you as well as a host.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. It's lovely to have people who are like-minded staying with you. Who wouldn't want that? And we live on site, and we see our guests every day. So for us, it's really important to have wonderful guests who we enjoy spending time with.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Bob, I had one more question for you. I know you mentioned, you know, a few different action items that people can take. I'm curious, out of the different steps that you've taken for you along your journey, what was the easiest step you took to become more sustainable?
Well, certainly.
Was it the toilet paper? Was it the light bulbs?
Certainly switching the light bulbs was a no-brainer. I mean, it's just buy a light bulb and plug it in. So that was, I mean, nothing's easier than that. Switching the energy tariff was super simple. It was an email to my provider, and that was just nothing. I think for me, the most satisfying hands-on thing was building my organic garden. We have a vegetable garden out in our grounds for our guests, so they can go and pick fresh organic vegetables every day. And so I look after that. It's one of my passions. It's a real good for de-stressing at the end of the day, is weeding the vegetable patch. So I created this organic vegetable patch, and that gives me a lot of pleasure, and that was really easy to do. And the guests love it because they can have fresh vegetables every day to cook with. So yeah, that was something good for me.
Oh, that sounds so nice.
That sounds lovely, Bob. I just have a question actually off the back of Alondra's. What's the most environmentally impactful thing that you've done so far in the short-term rental industry?
I think trying to be not too modest here. As a British person, it's very difficult to go pushing yourself forward, but I hope it will be launching EnviroRental, I think, because the reason I launched it was it's a not-for-profit. It's not there to provide an income for me. That doesn't interest me. It's there to educate, inform, and help our short-term rental industry. So the more people tap into it and use those resources, then the more successful it will be. We can have the most wonderful resources in the world, but if nobody's using them, then what was the point? So it's really great to have, you know, such amazing sponsors like Minut, who are helping us deliver these resources to the community. So the potential is amazing there. If we can get, you know, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people on this journey, we can start to move the dial on sustainability. I always say, you know, I'm talking to people, we don't want 100 or 1,000 people doing sustainability perfectly in short-term rentals. We want everybody doing it imperfectly, because that aggregate of everybody doing just a little bit, the total aggregate is so much bigger, and that's how we move the dial on sustainability. So I'm really, you know, evangelistic about trying to get everybody to take that first step, and when they do, I think they'll be hooked. I always say sustainability is like eating potato chips, or crisps as we say in the UK. Once you start, you just can't stop. That's what sustainability is like, or it is for me.
Definitely. I think EnviroRentals is a fantastic resource. I will be sending that out to everyone that's signed up to the webinar and everyone that's here, just so you have access to the webinar, the website, and you can go through all the resources that have been mentioned during the webinar as well.
Great.
Well, thank you again, Bob, for joining us today. It's been such a pleasure. I know we've gone over time, but again, we'll go ahead and send the individual recording to everyone who's registered, and then also reach out to a couple of folks if we didn't get to your questions. But thank you again for your time today. It was such a pleasure. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you at an event at some point.
Yeah, soon. Yeah. Maybe in London this week. I don't know, but I'll be there tomorrow.
Fantastic. Great. Well, thank you again.
All right. Take care. Thank you so much. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.